Hey, how's it going, everybody? So late night video that I just kind of want to address this weirdness that I'm seeing. So while I continue my adventures with the Pixel 9a, and I really enjoy making this video coverage on it, whether anybody watches it or nobody watches it, but I love making these videos to kind of just continue on with these perspectives with my new daily driver, the Pixel 9a. I do want to talk about something kind of like in a rant format, if that makes any sense. So anyways, before I dive into that, look, guys, do me a solid, smash the like button. All right, it only takes a second, and it's really helping out. And also, turn on bell notifications. That way you guys don't miss a video upload or whatsoever. And if you guys just subscribed, thanks for doing that, because that's getting me closer to 14K. I appreciate it. Glad to have you here. All right, so let's talk Pixel 9a, because it's funny that we're still having this conversation, even with the 9a. Even with the 9a being a $300 difference between that and the base model flagship, and we're still having this question of like, why is it here? Why is it here? I'm even seeing videos that's talking about what Google should do to the Pixel 9a and future A series devices, right? Look, I have ideas. I think I'm a know-it-all. I think an idea that I have could be executed well with Team Pixel, and they can put out a very good phone. But just because I have an idea doesn't mean that my idea resonates with everybody else out there. And I think people kind of got to remember that when you put out stuff into the universe. You know, one of the things that really impresses me about the Pixel 9a that, you know, I don't really see people really talking too much about is that, you know, we're in 2025 with the Pixel 9a, with Gemini AI, with all these cool AI features that's in it, regardless if it only has 8 gigabytes of RAM or any of that shit. And we're forgetting that the original A series device, the Pixel 3a, launched at a $399 price tag. Okay, that's $100 less than what the Pixel 9a launched for. And that's a while ago. That's a while back, right? When you kind of look at the growth of an OEM and you see what they do with their flagships, with their high-end mid-range, with their mid-range, and with their low-end mid-range, and with their budget range, you start to notice a pattern that every like year or two, they start increasing the price of those devices, right? Sometimes they'll keep it at the same price for maybe a year or two, but eventually it goes up in price again, okay? And I look at the Pixel A series and I'm like, okay, it launched, the 3A launched at $399, the 4A launched at $349, the 4A 5G was what, $499 also, or $429, somewhere around there. The Pixel 5A was $499, the 6A was $429, the 7A was $499, the 8A was $499, now the 9A is $499, and it has stayed in that bracket. No more than $100 more than what the 3A launched at, okay? That's crazy insane that we've kept that same price point. Even though things within the Pixel started to advance, they started adding more AI stuff. They started adding more tools to the photography, the audio, Magic Audio Eraser, Magic Eraser, Magic Editor, Add Me, you know, you had Circle to Search, you had Hold for Me, we had the caller ID spam block, you got the spam messaging block. There's like a lot of things that's like given into this, and it still maintained the same price. So to me, I'm just like, why are we even having this conversation? Because some of the ideas that people are just tossing out there of what Google can do to make the A series more enticing to a lot of people out there. One of them was like, cut the phone down to a $299 price tag. That had me laughing. That literally had me laughing because, you know, society today has accepted that flagships have gone from having a $499 price tag for a flagship Android device back in the day. Now, you know, a really good premium flagship Android device is $1,200 average. $1,200. Okay. That's $800, about $700 to $800 more than what it used to be back in the day. And mid-ranges have caught up. Mid-range prices have went from being like $150 to now being $500 average. All right. So a suggestion for the phone to be down $299, that don't make sense to me. When the OG was launched $100 more than that price that they're tossing out there. And you're getting all these things within the phone. and you think $299 is a practical price that the company is going to be good with, because I know a lot of us will be good with. I would be good with it at $299. Trust me, the more money I save for what I'm getting out of the Pixel 9a, the better it is. But I am also somebody that understands business, so I know that the $499 is a pretty good price at where it's at right now, and I'm hoping that the 10a maintains that. But I'm expecting the 10a to go up in price another $100 more and have a base startup price of $599. I'm just saying, the possibility. I wish it wasn't, and I hope it's not. So, saying that the phone should be $299, I mean, that to me just doesn't make sense. And you got people that's like, oh, well, you know what? They should just cut back on a lot. Let's take away a lot of the AI features that, the 9a has. They should have taken away those features away from from the 9. They should have taken it away from the 9 and just dumbed down the 9a a little bit, take away a few things, right? Make it a little bit more vanilla and bland. But then it's like, what's the point? You do that and you've lost people that had interest in Pixels, because that's one of the things that really gets people's attention when it comes to Pixels: photography and the smart, intelligent features. You strip that away from an A series device, you're just another Android phone out there. So then what's the point of you even existing? Can the project focus on the flagships, right? But then if you focus on the flagships, that still cuts out a demographic of people who can't afford anything above $600 at max price for them. Some people would just feel comfortable only spending $499 for a phone rather than $799 or $899 for a phone. Just saying. See, I think we've gotten to a place where we forgot the point of the A series devices. When you make that type of notion, that strip it down of all the things that it has, to me, it's just like, why? That goes against everything of what they brought the A series for. The A series was always intentional to bring you a affordable option of a Google Pixel phone that gave you a near identical experience as the base flagship, right? Starting with the 3A, that gave a very close experience to the Pixel 3. And I know this because I owned both phones and used them side by side and had no problem using the Pixel 3A over my Pixel 3, even though the Pixel 3A had a Snapdragon 600 series processor, and at times you could feel where the budget cuts were made as far as processing power in a smartphone such as the Pixel 3A. But at the end of the day, the experience, the user interface, the software, which matters more to me than anything else, and it was very damn close. And that continued on with the Pixel 4a, which was also adopting a new display design, moving away, from what the Pixel 4 and 4 XL had with that huge forehead bezel, which housed the Project Soli radar sensor and the selfie cam, which was used for Google's version of what they were pushing for, a Face ID style that could unlock even in very low light. And we trashed the Pixel 4 and 4 XL so badly that they never went and tried to push that again. So now we're kind of like, in between a gimmicky face unlock and a semi-secure unlock with the whole, face unlock that we get today. It's nothing compared to what the 4 and 4 XL has. And they continued on, but with every iteration that came with the A series, made for trying to be very close to the flagship without making you spend the money to get the flagship. And even that continued when they turned the new chapter to the Tensor chapter, and the 6 Pro followed up by the 6A, and the 6A is so close to the 6 and 6 Pro as far as performance and the user interface. And that's maintained with the 7A to the 7s, and the 8A to the 8s, and the 9A to the 9s. That is the essence of the A series, is to be as close to the flagship base as possible. And have we forgotten that? Are we so blindsided that, like, the Nothing Phone 3A, you guys can get it for, $379? Okay, you can get that for $379. That's still in beta for the US. It's not compatible with most US carriers. Your only benefit for the Nothing Phone 3A is to have it on T-Mobile. Or the Moto G series. Yes, go and get a Moto G series and then wait for them to decide when your device is going to be upgraded to the next version of Android if they feel like it, because they can't sell you an Android upgrade, but they can sell you an entirely new Android phone with the latest software. You can go Samsung and just be in this monopoly completely, because Samsung, if they could have it their way, it'd be a monopoly. So the options that's been taken away with the loss of LG, with other companies either being banned from the US or just shutting down their mobile phone operations. And what we have today is Samsung, we have iPhone, we have Pixel. And so since the Pixel A series aims to bring the same experience that you can get without spending the flagship price for the base model flagship, and we want to ask them to strip it of that or move from the opposite direction of that, or drop the price to an unreasonable $299, so that way the company could just feel like that the phone has no value to anyone out there and just completely can the project. I'm sorry if my rant pushes buttons, but this is the reality of things in my mind. This is the way that my brain thinks. This is how I'm looking at it from that standpoint. You know, is it a perfect phone? I know damn well there's not a smartphone out there that's a perfect phone. I'm not stupid. I don't believe that just because I like Pixels, it is the perfect phone for everybody. No, it's the perfect phone for me. But just because it's the perfect phone for me and it's not the perfect phone for you, doesn't mean that it should not exist. There are a lot of phones out there that you may feel like is not a good phone at all, but it's a good phone to somebody else. Doesn't give you the right to make these types of claims that it should not be around. It's that gold standard thing that I've been talking about for quite a bit. It really is. It's that whole, people setting themselves as the gold standard. For what?